program to bring you this important message.
Yo, it's Remember the Show. Slick with the flows, where the sparring can go. Who's gonna be on, man, you never will know. Guess you better tune in, cause we live from Chicago. Belal Muhammad, that's the king of the tweets. Jason Anik looks like John, step his hands to his feet. Every Thursday, we gon' give you a treat. It's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat. And retweet, and retweet, and retweet. And retweet, it's Remember the Show, hit play and repeat.
Oh yeah, 23 nights from tonight, main event Muhammad. But tonight, merely episode 59. Remember the show. Jason Anik, remember the name, the UFC's fifth-ranked welterweight, Belal Muhammad. Yeah, 23 nights, man. How you feeling, kid?
Excited. It's fun. You know, you think you want to concentrate on your fight, but I got a lot of distractions now with all this freaking crime happening in the welterweight division. You got Masvidal, you got McGregor. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It's funny. It's entertaining.
I hear you. Well, so we'll start there. Lots to talk about the previous week, and I can't wait to talk about UFC London. But George Masvidal, fascinating, man. I mean, obviously, well documented what happened. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, I know your feelings about Colby, but obviously, George doesn't want to get locked up here. You know,
for me, it's more so like, I mean, Colby deserves it. He definitely deserves to get punched in the face. And when people say, "Oh, well, you had 25 minutes," I don't care if you had 50 minutes. Like if you get beat up on the street, if I see you tomorrow, I remember the old days in school. You had a fight at recess. I would like fight the same kid like 5 times until I actually won. And you're not gonna get that opportunity in the UFC. But like, if somebody disrespects your family, disrespects your kids, brought up your wife, of course, like I'm gonna get my licks. And you have to think about how much it was like laying on Masvidal. He had to sit there and, he got beat up for 25 minutes by Colby. And then it was just like boiling up in him. Cause I'm sitting there like,
I'm sure,
Masvidal, you're from the streets. You're from Dade County. I'm pretty sure you have some guys out there that will go and, put a hit on Colby for you. Not like a hit, like go hit him, like break his jaw, put him in the hospital or something like that. Like I know you have some friends or some guys that are loyal to you that would do that for you. But the fact that he did it himself tells me that like it hurt him so much emotionally that he did that he wanted to get that lick back himself. But I'm like, bro, your name's too big, your brand is too big.
Yeah.
But we're living in today's society now where like something like this will make your brand blow up.
Well, and I mean, George Masvidal, and he's certainly true to his word, Matt. Like he pretty much said he was gonna do it. He certainly seemed to find the opportunity himself, but well, anyway.
Yeah, you said, he's from the streets. You're from the streets. I mean, you can't walk around Miami with all these people. Oh, how come you let that white boy do that to you? Like I said, after a fight is when you really know who's really with you, who's not really with you. You could sit there and go look through the comments of any type of UFC post. Whenever a guy loses, there's a million, oh, this guy sucks, that guy sucks. Masvidal, that 3-fight win streak was all fake. He's a bum, but like, you're losing to Usman, you're losing to Colby. It's not like he's losing to bums. So, but like people in general, like when you're at a high as Masvidal was the last year, when you were on top of the world, you were the biggest star, you were on a 3-fight winning streak. Everybody was like, this guy's a monster. Now you're on a 3-fight losing streak. You just got beat up by your arch rival and you had to sit at home and be like, man, this guy literally disrespected me like that. And he's sitting there still in my town. He's getting all the attention now. Man, I got to go get this lick. I got to go get this hit back.
Just nuts, man.
Other things that everything could have been done differently. Like, I wouldn't definitely flaunt it on social media. I would be like, yo, that wasn't me. I don't know who the heck did that. That person had a mask on. He had long hair. That wasn't me. Like, don't go on social media and be like touching your face and stuff. I'm like, you're snitching on yourself. Like my dude Nate Diaz said it. You're snitching on yourself.
Right. Well, and so what do you think about Khabib? I mean, coming out and just saying, all right, well, just nobody fight Colby. Just nobody fight Colby. I know what you think. I like your response,
Yeah, I mean, to the point of where, Khabib made it real, like, yo, this guy, you're a fighter, he's a fighter, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to press charges on it. You created it. Same thing with McGregor, where it's all business. No, it's not business when you're talking about family and you're talking about wives. Like, Khabib, a guy that never comes out of character, jumped over the fence and got into it just because fighting gets emotional, and he won. And I think that even if Masvidal would have still won that fight, he sees Kobe on the street, he's still going to fight with Kobe. That's just like in his blood. Like, you still disrespect me, I'm not going to forget those words. It's not like you can't say something and be like, oh, it was just for that. No, it's like when there's certain people you say something to, they take it offensively. They take it to the point of like, yo, bro, like, you don't say those words to me. I'm not your friend like that where you could talk to me like that.
Well, and Rogan thought they were going to hug, and Bisping was like, no fucking way.
Yeah. Yeah. You had a million people are like, man, is this a fake conflict, or are they just doing it for the money? Blah, blah. No, but I'm like, good point, Madison. We don't need to bring more bad attention to MMA, but like I said, like, for something like that, to have your biggest star, another big star in the UFC arrested, it does make the sport look bad. But also, it's like, you don't want to keep promoting a bum like that to have other fighters start deciding themselves to try to copy Kobe, because Kobe's not good at his little stick of talking trash. So, but now you're going to have other fighters like, oh, he's starting the headline pay-per-views, he's getting title shots, he's getting attention because he's talking about guys' wives, talking about guys' countries. But I'm happy that Masvidal did it, because it tells you, like, bro, at heart, we're all still fighters. This doesn't matter, like you said, we're professional athletes, but we're still a fighter. You're if I still see you and you say something stupid to me on the street, I'm gonna hit you. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, man, hey, bro, sign this contract for me for face to face. You're talking trash. No, I'm gonna hit you. We're gonna fight.
I hear you. Well, speaking of the good part of MMA, UFC London, give me all of it. All of it. I couldn't get enough of it. And so for you, 3 weeks, and we'll get to specifics with Aspinall and Arnold Allen. It goes on, patty to batty. But for you, watching that 4 weeks away, and it doesn't matter where your fight is, that has to get the juices flowing, and not only enjoying it from a fan standpoint, but imagining yourself on that stage. No? I mean,
yeah, honestly, it gets you so hyped up. And I was like happy that it was like an earlier card, because I got a workout in right after that, because it's one of those cards you want to go, I want to go hit something. I want to go hit the bag or something like that. So it's like those type of cards, that type of energy, that atmosphere over there was like amazing. You could just feel it through the TV. And it was like, I would have loved to see what it felt like in the stands over there, because that energy those people brought, even Aspinall, that was his first fighting in front of a crowd. And he was like, bro, there's like the best thing ever. And it's like, you're happy for guys like him, because he looks like a genuinely good guy and like a funny guy. And to see him like perform like that on a stage like that in front of his people, I like seeing stories like that.
Oh, couldn't get enough. So in 2006, I saw Ricky Hatton fight in Boston. And there's only one Ricky Hatton, right? The whole place. We're in Boston, right? It was like London in there, and it brought back memories of that. And everybody handled their business, which just made it that much better. I mean, there's so many different angles. But before we get to Aspinall, like, I want to talk about Arnold Allen. Dude's never lost to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Like, I understand. I mean, he's the guy I want to see face Holloway, Volkanovski. I understand Hooker is what it is wherever he is, but that doesn't take away from Arnold Allen. Some of these guys, I don't think he had fought since he fought Benavidez, I believe, last time he fought, but it just had been a while. And some of these guys like Arnold Allen, for guys like me, it's like, I haven't seen enough of Arnold Allen, and I was blown away, man.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I trained with the kid before, and he's legit a beast, but he's not as active. Like, he fights like one time a year. He's a one type of year guy. And I've seen a recent interview where he was just like, maybe I should just keep that going because it's working for me right now. But I'm like, bro, dude, we need to see more of that, especially coming off a fight like that, first round finish against a huge name like Dan Hooker. You have a million people. Like I said, after every fight, there's still people in the comment section. You go read the comments, and people are like, well, Dan Hooker's done. He's lost 3 in a row. Arnold Allen beat a washed up Dan Hooker, but it's like Dan Hooker's losing to the best of the best. He's losing to Islam Makhachev. He's losing to Dustin Poirier. Like, shut up. He took a chance. He went down to 145. He made weight. He looked good on the scale. Arnold Allen is just a monster. You may not know who he is, but like, real fighters, real fans know how good he is. And when you look at his technique, and I picked him on the show even before the fight, because I said that, like, he knows how to win and he's very good at it. And he got the way his hands looked so fast. He looked so smooth with his combinations. He even got rocked a little bit, but he fought back because he's a tough kid. And then you've seen that in the Sadiq Youssef fight. That when Sadiq Youssef killed right after that. 1 a year is kind of whack. That's the thing. It's like, guys like him, he has a personality too. And I'm like, bro, fighters need to start pushing that out more, start getting more active on social media. That's what social media is for. Because when you're not fighting, you need to start popping out more. You need to start getting your name out there more, get a YouTube channel, something like that. because you're fighting and then next week there's another fight. So they're forgetting about you already. And then especially if you're fighting one time a year, they're not remembering that fight 1 year ago.
I hear you. And, like, I'm craving a guy like Michael Bisping bouncing around the arena. You know what I mean? Just because his personality still resonates and he's not even fighting, Yeah.
And it's like another thing we brought up earlier, my bad, where you were talking about like the London atmosphere. And it's like, how come it's never like that for the U.S. fighters? Because they never get their support. Where all these U.S. fighters are like, man, I wish I had a country behind me, like in Ireland or London. But those people are like on lockdown for so long. And you could tell how thirsty they were to get out of there, to get to a real fight, to get to a real arena. And like, they were all just going nuts. Doesn't matter who it was. And when they're screaming for Paddy to Baddy or they're screaming for Aspinall, it's like amazing. And it just gets other fighters to the point of like, I wish I want to get to the level of that. I want to get to the level of that wherever I am. That we fight in Chicago, it's going to be like that at United Center.
Dude, I love it. So, we'll get to Aspinall, but like Paddy to Baddy, I mean, we can talk about all the, like, I could listen to him all day. I know people have heard my brother say he can listen to them talk all day. Scousers don't get knocked out. I listen to that shit all day long. But like as a fighter, right? He could be 25th or 30th ranked in the world in his weight class. I'm sure you were somewhat impressed with what you saw on the ground. I mean, we didn't have much chance to see his defensive striking. He did get rocked a little bit, but what do you think of Paddy to Baddy, the fighter?
I mean, you have a lot of people coming at him. Obviously, he's a big star already, and he only has 2 fights in the UFC. And you have people, why is he fighting this guy or that guy or that guy? But he literally only has 2 fights. So relax, people. He's still young. You could tell he still has a lot to learn, but what he does have is his toughness. The kid is tough, and he showed it in the first fight. He didn't fold. He showed it over here. He didn't fold once he got rocked. He's comfortable on the ground. He has a great ground game. He just needs to work on his stand-up a little bit with his defense and his technique on the feet. But you have a million people just because, he has this many followers that they want to throw him out to Conor McGregor or this guy already. Build them up. Like you see in boxing where the guys are not fighting real fighters until they're 20-0. Like Paddy, he's fought some tough guys. Like you have John McCarthy. He fought tougher guys outside of the UFC. All right, relax. So he only has 2 fights in the UFC. You're not talking about Joe Schmo or this guy, how they're getting built up slowly. I think they're building up right. Same way they're doing like Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley was built up the right way. You have a million haters, but I feel like Sean O'Malley's a different animal because Sean O'Malley's good everywhere. And Sean O'Malley's technique on his feet is like flawless. And he's so good. And I think that Sean O'Malley can compete with top 10, top 15 guys right now. But it's because he got comfortable in the cage. He got smooth. He learned in the cage. And I think that Paddy needs that. He needs maybe three or more guys or fights without, a ranked opponent yet. You don't need to throw him to a ranked guy yet. You haven't, like I said, you're going to have haters no matter what. And especially when you have that many followers, there's going to be haters telling you suck, did this or that. But he's winning. He has a big following. And he has the O2 Arena singing his song. So he has the X factor.
And I think he would agree with you. He's not trying to rush it. It doesn't seem,
Yeah, so, he's doing it smart. He's taking a shot on O'Malley role. He's like, they're not paying me what I need to be paid right now. So, and I don't really think that that's really an issue. I think that even if he was still getting paid more, he would still want to go up the slower route. And it's smart. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you for doing that. Like, they offered him Jared Gordon now. But first thing that said to me was that I thought when Jared said that they offered me Paddy Pimblett, I was like, bro, you're going to kill him. And I was like, why the heck is Paddy's manager saying yes to this? Or who does he have managing him that would make him agree to this in his second fight?
And ultimately he didn't, right?
Yeah, ultimately he didn't. So then I was like, all right, well, he's smart. Like, obviously I felt bad because I wanted my boy Jared to go out there and get that shine. But like,
I hear you.
Paddy's smart. He did the smart thing that took the smart road.
Imagine Jared Gordon having the opportunity to shut that arena up. It almost happened anyway. Paddy got shook a little bit. And even a guy like Tom Aspinall, and we'll spin it there. He's not wanting a title shot, even though a lot of people do think, his skill set. There aren't too many guys that skill set match up well against a champ. Anyway, before we move on, let's talk about Aspinall and that. I don't bet on fights anymore. I just like to watch him. But man, I thought that was. I just felt like that was going to be a great night for him, and it certainly was. Not a very competitive fight. He can handle his business on the ground, man, no doubt. So Cody put it up there. He's the best grappler in the heavyweight division. What did you think of that? And where do you see him going forward? He's not too far away from
bro. He may be the best boxer and the best grappler in the heavyweight division. His hands were so fast. The way he was moving in and out, and to fight a guy like Volkov, who's been in there with the best of the best, he doesn't get finished like that. He went 5 rounds with Cyril Gane, who everybody thought was the best striker in the heavyweight division. He's fast, he's strong, and he has takedowns, and his takedowns aren't like, let me try to grab your leg and get lucky with it. He sits there and shoots on you from a distance, and he tackles you. He takes you down just because how fast he is. He literally moves like a welterweight. And you see how good his hands are. I know that he had some sparring in with the Fury brothers. They bring him in, and when you're sparring with real boxers, like you learn from those guys. And real boxers, they go hard. They don't just spar light. So like he's obviously learning something from the best boxer in the world right now, Fury. But yeah, his ground game to finish a straight armbar. That's one of those moves where it's like, bro, I'm not gonna get caught with a straight armbar. By somebody like practice. Somebody got that on me. I'm like, yo, break it. Do it. And they're going to end up letting go. But the fact that he did it, and then it looked like he popped his arm a little bit because it was like tight. So it shows me how legit his grappling is. Even when Darren Till would say it like, Aspinall is he's a black belt and this and this. I'm like, bro, they ain't got no black belts in London. Relax. Right. But he legit has a black belt. He has a jiu-jitsu school. So I learned a lot about him.
Interesting. So speaking of black belts, and I know we'll get to this in the Bix, but like Chris Daukaus is a black belt, if I'm not mistaken, right? And I haven't seen much of that on the ground. It's like, so when people say like, oh, there's levels to it, you know what I mean? It's so like Chris Daukaus is a black belt. I mean, like, do you know how good or not Chris Daukaus is on the ground?
No, because we haven't seen it. So for me, it's like, you've seen his brother, so you have that. Like his brother has great ground game. His brother showed it. So, and then he trains at the same gym as his brother. But for heavyweights, it's differently. Like there's a different type of jiu-jitsu for heavyweights than it is for lighter weight guys. And Aspinall, like I said, that the straight armbar is 90% of the time. I try to get the 9 Wonder Board where I had it fully extended out. But like I said, a lot of those guys aren't going to tap to that, to a straight armbar. But like his was locked in. So like he has that big boy jiu-jitsu, like arm bars, putting his weight on you, it suffocates you, and then his top pressure is just different. That's the thing that I didn't think that it was gonna be that good, but to do it against a guy like Volkov and to finish him with that early, it just shows me how legit his black belt skills really are.
I mean, I think they brought up on the Anik and Florian podcast, but like Aspinall gone. I mean, some of these matchups, this division all of a sudden is deep. You know,
it's deep, but like I want to be careful with that. Like I want to give him the right. For me, I think that he could be the champion. I think that he could beat Francis Ngannou right now, and it's a great matchup. But like to throw him in there against like a guy like Gane, whose style is weird, where he could outpoint you, and it's just a different type of style because he can stay on the outside the whole time. For a guy that loves boxing like Aspinall, he likes to be on the inside. So if Gane just keeping on the outside up, and Gane's fine with outpointing you and making that type of fight. So I don't want to see him fight a guy like him. A guy like Bam Bam, that would be an exciting fight. And that would be the buildup would be good. It would be fun. Both these guys, they're going to stand in there, they're going to bang, and they both got hands. Somebody like that, or even like a Derek Lewis, I would like that.
It's a good point there. Aspinall and Pimblett with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu base coming from England. That's crazy. Sport is evolving, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's growing everywhere. You've seen it now all around the world. Even the Middle East has so many great guys that you're seeing. And I'm like, dang, I didn't even know they had gyms like that out there. But yeah, all these guys out there, props to them.
So anything else from that card? I mean, the Meatball Molly.
You gotta talk about the Meatball elbow.
Yeah, that's what I was just. I mean, dude,
I picked against her on my circle because I was sitting there listening to stupid Ian Parker picked against her, and I was like, why is Ian picking against her?
Got to tune out the noise,
my heart was gonna go with her, but you told me not to pick with my heart anymore.
Well, and it served you pretty well, but you still got to tune out the noise. Got to tune out the noise. You know enough. You don't need to listen to nobody.
Stupid Ian Parker, man. I had it, and then she came out like a freaking firecracker. Her hands, like I said, it's a different type of pressure when you're out there and you just have somebody just throwing bombs at you the whole time. That's what she does. And she had the cardio. I was like, there's no way she's going to keep this cardio up with that pace. And she looked good doing it.
Forgive me because her opponent's name is escaping me, but I thought the third round started very well for her opponent. But
Carolina.
Thank you, Cody. But then I think she was a little careless and just left herself up. But that was that was quite a visual. And then she's drunk on Howler Head. And, I don't know if anyone saw the post show, but it was like, they were asking Paddy Pimblett questions, and Meatball Molly is more than happy to oblige with an answer.
I'm like, bro, she's definitely drunk. She's a character off Shameless. I said it last time. I'm like, bro, she's definitely that type of character. Like, you need to follow her. She just got a sponsorship from Barstool Sports too.
Well, they were talking about it that night, And,
I'm like, bro, I need to move to London to get this type of
right.
These guys.
Right. Bisping's like, Meatball Molly's in Dana White's seat, and then John was saying, I don't know how she got in the octagon after Paddy. She just wherever she wants. It was a special night though. The vibe in that building, man.
Yeah, it's
unbelievable.
It was, like I said, it's one of those where you're looking at it and it makes you like, you think about it. You're like, man, like, look how much shine they're getting. Look how good, look how fun it is for them in their country, this, and this. You're like, it makes you a little bit jealous, but then it also makes you happy for them just because you see how happy they are for each other. And they're legitimately like, sometimes you'll have like people that are around you that really want to see you lose or hate on you. And like, you could just tell that they really care about each other. When you see the cameras in the back and you see Paddy Pimblett jumping up and down for a Meatball, and Meatball cage side drunk, waiting for Paddy, jumping in the cage. Yep. And you see how happy they are. And then even with Aspinall, where, he pulled Darren Till on top of the cage. And you got Israel Adesanya hated on him, like, oh, let that be Aspinall's time, blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there like, Darren Till said, bro, he told me to come on the cage with them. Darren Till's obviously a big name in London, and they're boys. They're like, they've been together for a while. So it was like a great moment to see both of them happy for each other. And you could just tell Darren legitimately was happy for him. It was not like he was like, oh, let me get my cheers for myself. I didn't fight, but like, let me get that. Like, it wasn't one of those moments. So that's why it was kind of annoying that Israel brought that up. And like Darren Till, I think he brought it up too, where he's like, bro, when you post videos of you crying for your teammates after they win a fight, your reactions for it, like, you're still getting the attention off of that, showing how good of a guy you are, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, that annoyed me a little bit because you could just tell Darren's not that guy. He's not trying to steal his shine. He didn't want his shine. He was just happy for him.
So before we get to the Bix, I assume the machine is ready 3 weeks out. We're not going to ask you too many specific questions. I don't know how the weather is in Chicago, if the stairs are, if it's nice weather for the stairs, but the machine looks ready. I assume the machine is ready.
The machine is working, man. We're going hard, and then it's getting fueled every single day when you just see these people just talking about Khamzat and how he's gonna get the next title shot. And then I love it. I love that they're just looking past this fight, not bringing it up, and they're just talking about him fighting Usman, fighting Israel Adesanya, and I'm sitting there like, all right, we'll see. I'm the fight after it, so I know that I'm gonna have to show out. And even for still with that fight, they're looking past Gilbert so easily, like,
right?
They're not even mentioning his name, and they're like, well, he's your brother's one of those guys. Your brother's one of those guys. And I'm like, bro, John, you're getting on my hit list right now.
So no, it's interesting. I get it, man. I don't know what else to say. I'm with you. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I get it. Obviously, it's the unknown. He has all the juice, and like you said, he's with a big name now. With him and Darren Till, the Bash brothers are getting a lot of attention right now. He looks in great shape. To me, he looks very lean, but now I'm worried about his weight cut because I'm like, if you're already that lean that early, it tells me that you're kind of heavy, and it's.
I hear you.
It's going to be a hard weight cut maybe to me, but who knows? I mean, he's working in Vegas right now, so he has the PI at his disposal. But I don't know. Darren Till seems like a bad eater. So to have a guy like that around you being your boy, he's ordering Domino's while you're out here eating salad.
But like, what's the line? Is there a line on Burns Chimaev?
I think he's like minus 435.
Chimaev, right? So it's not like guys like John are just sort of blowing smoke. I mean, guys in Vegas do know what they're, and when you talk about Aspinall, right? Aspinall probably would have as close as good odds against Francis, maybe as anyone out there right now. You know, do you know what I mean? Based on what you said. So to me, I'm with you. Like, unfortunately, Gilbert's going to have to put the respect on his own name. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's got a great chance to do it. Is that really the line? Is it that? I mean, see, that's it's nuts, man.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, bro, what? Like, and they're not even like mentioning Gilbert. They're not bringing him up. Not blah blah blah. And I'm like, all right, they're just literally thinking that he's gonna walk through him and then go straight to the title fight. This, and that. And I'm like, I don't think it's gonna be that easy. I don't think Gilbert's working. Gilbert's working. And I'm not even like considered a hater. Like if you walk through Gilbert, you're already legitimate to me just because you're 10-0. You got hit in, what is you, 4-0 in the UFC? You got hit once. So you're obviously good.
Wow,
Oh, minus 525. I was even off.
Yeah, see, I want to see what John trains at Burns gym. I find me something with John saying anything about Burns. It would surprise me. Do you know what I mean? I know he's big on Chimaev, but to be honest, I think it's, like he's real big on Jamal Hill. He thinks Jamal Hill is special, right?
Yeah.
My brother, right? So it's like, I'll say that now. Let's see how that, I agree with him, but look, I think you've seen some things at Chimaev that you love. I'd like to see you face him, certainly. And a guy like Burns is going to present different challenges, but GM3 was in there with him,
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, too, where you're looking back at that, you have people bring that up, GM3, and it's like, it's 4-ounce gloves. Anybody gets hit. So it's not telling me that Chimaev had just amazing power or not. He's obviously good. I'm not saying that he's not good, but we'll see April 8th. But I'm sitting there like, I'm going to be on that mic after this fight, and I'm definitely going to be calling his name. So, John, you don't have to worry about it.
I love it. And, dude, it's going to be, like Gilbert Burns, what an opportunity. What an opportunity for him.
But what is that? What happens if Gilbert wins? And it's like, well, man, we try to push him too fast. Maybe the Chimaev needs to go up to 185 and fight Adesanya right away. The weight cut was way too much. And it gives you so many excuses just because they put so much hype on him right away. So it gives you all those. Well, it wasn't good enough. Gilbert just caught him with the right hand. Anything happens, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, come on.
Well, and that's the risk you run. And like, how much money does Chimaev earn for the company? Yeah, right. I like that. How much money does Chimaev earn for the company if he gets smoked by Burns? And then, where does he go from there? Right?
Yeah, if he wins, it's obviously going to be one of the biggest stars, biggest followings. He's definitely going to be a pay-per-view guy. And he may skip over Leon Edwards to get this title shot. If you look at the London card, when they put the camera on Leon Edwards, there's like 3 people clapping. And if you're in London in that arena with that much energy and they're really not cheering for your name, you need one of those NBA chants where they're screaming MVP, MVP. There was none of that for Leon Edwards. So it tells me that he's definitely skippable with a great performance.
I hear you. Well, I'm going to be honest. Like for me as a sports fan, I'm biased. And this is a true statement. In terms of the welterweight division, I'm really not concerned with anyone other than Vicente Luque right now and beating him. He's the next game for me, honestly. So like some of this stuff with Chimaev, like it's so off my radar, bro. I'm focused on your fight.
My brother.
For real. For real.
For sure.
Let's get to the Bics. Cody, please. Is that fight the week before yours? The Chimaev? Yeah, see, couldn't care less. April 16th. All right. Dude, last week, what was it? 9-3? We flipped the whole script. 9-3 last week. Yep. But it takes the record over 500, 51% overall, 59%. Love it, bully. Love it. Mostly with your head. Which is good. So first, Bic, sorry we're making you pick this one. In the welterweight division, the featured preliminary bout between a couple of Remember the Show friends. I really can't wait for this one. So the unranked Max Griffin, right? So he'll take the 9, I guess, of Magny with a win. Just fascinating. He's won 3 straight, be Condit, I'm just fascinated by this matchup. Magny had a 1-1 last year, coming off a win over Jeff Neal. With your head, I want to know how you see this one sort of playing out, and ultimately, who do you think wins? Not who you want.
This is one of those fights with the head and heart, because I like Max Griffin.
I know. I know. You're allowed to use your heart here and there. I'm not going to, like Kenny Florian picked Matt Brown this week, and he was not going to pick against Matt Brown because Matt Brown's a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So,
is he?
Yeah. So that was it. That was the deal break. But anyway, no, talk to me.
With this fight, it's one of those fights where I think Magny's seen a Max Griffin already. Max Griffin, his path to victory, I think, is to knock him out, to get a good finish. He has strong, powerful hands. He has good striking, good movement. But Magny's very good at avoiding big power shots. His last couple fights, Jeff Neal, you saw him avoid those, start with the clinch a little bit. And we've seen Max Griffin get taken down a couple times in a lot of his fights. And I think that Magny's very good at wearing you down by taking you down with body locks clinching on your neck. And, I just think that he's seen a lot of Max Griffins. I'm hoping that Max Griffin lands that punch, drops him because Magny's annoying. But Griffin did just be kind of, but kind of looked he doesn't have the same style as Magny. Kinda's not going to go in there and shoot on you. He's not going to go in there and try to grapple you. Magny's the type that's going to wear on you. Those power arms are going to start withering down. And then the third round, he gets on top of you and he uses his size, his length. Unfortunately, I'm going to go with Magny here since I'm going to pick with my head.
Yeah, I hear you there. I mean, and for, I do think, for both guys, for Max, it'd be a great opportunity for him to see if he can get a couple really big fights if he wins this one, or at least
it's definitely stylistic. It's a very good fight for him in the rankings. When you look at all the ranked fighters, this is like you get a fight number 9,
right?
It's a big fight for him.
Absolutely. And I also think for Magny too, I think he's 145. I still think for him, continuing to win, it's a tough division. So it's like he can still stay relevant and stay in the top 10 and still get, some really big fights, I think. A lot of good fighters. We're moving on to flyweights, or you want to pick Matt Brown real quick, director? Cody will let us know. This card's going to be sneaky. All right. So quick pick here. The immortal Matt Brown. Columbus, Ohio, Brian Barbarena. I don't know. Close fight here. Who do you got?
Man, honestly, like the old Brian, I would have picked him. But this new Brian, the last couple fights, he hasn't looked the same. He's looked kind of like out of shape, basically. He's gotten rocked a couple times in his last couple fights. It's not I think that, leaving his original gym, I don't think he's really all in right now with fighting. And Matt Brown, he looked great his last fight. He still has that knockout power. He's in his hometown. I'm going to honestly pick Matt Brown without my heart.
I like it. All right. So this next fight in flyweight, Askar Askarov, another guy reminded me a little bit of Arnold Allen. Just number 2 in the world. It's like, and so this division, Kai Kara-France. So Kai Kara-France, he's won 2 straight performance of the night bonuses. And then the fight before that, even though he loses, was a fight of the night against Brandon Royval. So he's certainly doing well in the bank. But step up in competition here. Askarov 14-0. He's the one who last fought. Yeah, a win over Benavidez was his last fight. I think I said that about Arnold Allen before. I was mistaken. But dude, it's nuts. It's over a year ago. It's another guy who's not quite that active, and not in anyone's radar. But these guys, 29, 28 years old, respectively, a huge line. The next guy's certainly going to be close, ticking on that championship opportunity. Who do you got here?
That was weird that they made the championship fight this week. I'm like, both of these guys, I feel like this should be a number 1 contender fight. Oscar, I think, should have been fighting for the title already. I don't know why they made a 4th fight right away. Back to back. If there was no other contenders in the division, I would understand it. But if I'm a flyweight, I'm pissed off because I'm like, bro, how come you guys going to keep making this rematch? It's a great rematch. But if I'm a flyweight with these guys he has a huge win against Cody Garbrandt his last fight, I would be yelling, what the heck's going on? Askar Askarov is a problem, though. He's good everywhere. His grappling is next level. His striking is really good. The dude's a dog. I think that he's going to end up being a champion by the end of this year. I think that he's the best guy in that division. And I think, honestly, man, I think it's going to be an easy fight for him against Kai.
Yeah, Kai's, certainly talking about what may happen getting through Oscar, so I don't know. Be careful there. I think it's
power. Kai has that power shot, but I think that Oscar's just been in there with a lot of tough guys. He's fought some of the best guys out there. And then, these Russians, they're just built differently.
Built like Muhammad. So move to the main event, which was supposed to be, I think, Jan Blachowicz. See, this should have been Muhammad's main event this weekend. Sorry.
Man, honestly,
with all the family.
It would have been perfect.
Would have been like your London. Get all the family in Ohio, right? Anyway, huge line here. But Blaydes, I guess, often is a huge favorite here. So as I said before, Daukaus is a black belt. So Daukaus getting knocked out by the Black Beast back in December, a little bit of a setback. He had been undefeated in the UFC, still number 9 in the world. He's probably going to take the 4 if he beats Blaydes here. I can't stop thinking about Tom Aspinall. I love this matchup here happening at this time. I kind of hope it goes to the ground. I'm interested to see what will happen there. Big line again. Daukaus looks physically a lot different than he did a couple years ago. I saw some footage. I mean, he is leaner. He looks like more of an athlete now. Who do you have in the main event, Bully?
Are they both coming off knockouts, the Black Beast?
Well, I think Blaydes came back and beat Jairzinho Rosenstrike.
Oh yeah, I forgot
afterwards. But yes, they both did lose to the Black Beast in 2021, I believe.
Okay. I mean, when you're looking at it, you're thinking that what's Blaydes going to do? He's going to go in there, try to take you down. Man, but I feel bad for Daukaus just because I think right when he went full-time fighter and, quit his job as an officer, if you go out there and you have two tough matchups, you get knocked out by Black Beast, and then what if you get out-wrestled by Blaydes? You're like, bro, should I hit up the police department again? It's like, it's rough, man. It's like when you're at a high, like a Masvidal, where you're on a 3-fight winning streak and you're on top of the world, and all of a sudden the money's good right now. Then all of a sudden you lose one, then it starts piling up. You lose another one. Then you're like, what the fudge is going on? How come I keep losing? But like I said, Daukaus looks good. His body looks like an athlete. He looks better. I think that's that full-time fighting now where he can concentrate more on it. It's just a tough matchup. Blaydes, he's been knocked out before. Daukaus has great hands, fast hands. But I think Blaydes also has great striking. He just needs to be more confident in throwing his striking. He's just so comfortable shooting on you. But people forget that he has great striking, great hands, great movement. Daukaus is fast, but I just think that Blaydes is going to be able to just take him down. I know he's a black belt, but Blaydes has been in there with some of the best guys, these high-level wrestlers. You're not going to be able to submit them pretty easily off your back. It's tough to submit guys off your back, especially at heavyweight. I just think that Blaydes is going to continue his run here.
Yeah, it's hard to bet against him, but that line is just hefty.
Yeah, it's with heavyweights, he has, like I said, Daukaus has them fast hands, and you could land that quick 1-2 up the middle, and we've seen Blaydes got knocked out. Belal goes to Marshall and Blaydes all the CK black tees.
I was going to say, that's probably Young Law, right?
Yeah, this is young LA guys. They just had a new drop.
I could tell. Nice fitting tight. So like when you're 3 weeks away or when you're 4 weeks away, like last week, I mean, like, is it, and then there are times where you don't have a fight on the books when you're watching these fight cards as it gets, I mean, is it different at all when you're watching these? Cause I know you're a pretty relaxed guy, but like when you're watching a fight and you have nothing on the books, right? And you're just, but then this weekend, I would have to think there's a little different feeling in your belly. No?
Yeah, definitely a different feeling because then you start looking at stuff and you start seeing things. And then especially once the headline comes up that fighting 2 weeks, blah, 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 then it's like gets you hyped up, get you going a little bit. And then you start telling yourself, like, you see a guy get tired in a fight and you're like, man, maybe I should go run. Maybe I need to do something after this. I don't want to have that feeling. You look at a guy get knocked out, you look at a guy get submitted, and you're like, oh, man, that footwork right there looked good right there. That move right there looked good. Let me try that. Let me think about that. You're up shadow boxing the whole time. When I don't have a fight, I'm sitting there eating whatever I want, just chilling, relaxing, not really paying attention like that.
I believe it. Bilal, what's a normal walk around weight outside of camp for a welterweight? Depends on who. You asking Bilal?
Yeah, a lot of for normal guys. For me, I'm getting probably like 190. I'm walking around there 192. At my heaviest 195. That's if I'm not working out at all. But once I'm training, working out, I'm staying in the high 80s. But I've trained with guys that got over 200 outside of camps. And then when they get to camps, they have to start cutting weight right away. And it's like, that's the thing with a lot of these guys where they don't train full time outside of camp. So then once they do get a camp, their first 3 weeks, 4 weeks is just the diet. It's just eating healthier and getting that initial baby fat off you. And that really messes up your camp because then you probably have like 3 weeks after that just to focus on the fight. For me, I'm always training. So then it's like the whole fight camp is, once I have a fight, it's like, all right, now we can just concentrate on this opponent, concentrate on working for this fight. Little things like that, little adjustments that I have to make, nothing too serious. And even with my diet, it's nothing really too serious. Like, all right, well, now I can't have chips and candy. So, and then my weight will be like walking around at 186. And then when I get to fight week, I like to get down there at like probably 85, 84. And then that week is when you water load and take everything off. And the day before, I'm cutting weight starting at probably like 81. So like that night, I'll be cutting weight and it'll be like 10 pounds.
That's where the professional athlete, I know we're fighters, but the professional athlete thing comes in. Like Paddy Pimblett, he's like, can't wait to start eating again. And certain guy, and hey, look, to each his own, right? But
like, I brought that up, right? Like you said, like, it's like, a lot of us don't think of ourselves as professional athletes. When you look at like a guy like LeBron James, who spent millions, what does he spend? Like $2 million on just taking care of his body. And then you look at fighters, it's like right when they're out of camp, they're just eating snacks, eating trash, and then not really doing weight training or anything like that unless they're in a camp. So then you go straight to dieting and you're killing your body, you go into training, then you start getting little injuries, little tweaks here and there, and then that messes up your longevity. And I think that a lot of fighters, in the old days where there was really no mentors or anybody that's going to show you the right path to go. Like I said, there's no great book of, all right, this is how to be a fighter. Like every guy has their own ways of doing it. Every guy has their own thoughts of how you should train. And when you talk to OGs like Forrest Griffin and stuff like that, and he would tell me like, bro, like, I think you need to cut down one of those sessions. And you just tell him, he'll be like, what are you doing today? And I'll be like, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this. And he'll be like, maybe you should cut down one of those sessions. Like, why do you need that other session? And I'm like, just, why not? Like, and then he'll be like, yeah, I dealt with it. I felt like that. And when you look at me now, like I've had this surgery, that surgery, this surgery, it's because I've over pushed myself, because in the end, we're all fighters. And it's like, we had the mentality of, let me go that extra mile to be tough. But it's like, we're already tough. We're already strong. We're already this. Sometimes you have to be tough enough to take a day off, tough enough to, all right, let me just do some film study instead of trying to kill myself, kill my body. And when you have all that extra weight, like a Paddy who goes up probably like to 200 pounds, and you see him like laughing about it and joking about it, making let me have a 15,000 calorie meal. Like your metabolism is going to hurt. It's going to kill your body. And then in the long run, you may have diabetes or something like that. Because in general, weight cutting is not healthy. So then weight cutting to eating terrible is even more unhealthy. And you need to start, how big do you want to get? You're talking about, I want to be a huge star, this star. But like I said,
right,
you have to win, but you also have to be active. And if I can only fight one time a year because I have to cut 50 pounds, that's not being active.
Well, and like Dave Portnoy, president of Barstool Sports, like definitely when he signed Paddy was like, yeah, he's got to win. Like it's not like he's got to keep winning, because this will only go so far,
Exactly.
There he is.
Well, I gotta say, lads, Paddy turned me. He turned me into a fan. Not a big Paddy fan before the weekend, but at the weekend, the lad went in there and just shocked the world. No, but actually, I was not a big, just for the reasons you said, like the professionalism, like wasn't a big Paddy guy. But then in his, I think one of his pre-interviews, he was talking about why he got banned off Instagram. And it's like, because he helps kids, like terminally ill kids, and like defends kids who get bullied. And like, I mean, if he's doing that even 80% of the time, like that's more than, getting pulled over all the time in Ireland. You know what I'm saying? So like, I wasn't a big Paddy guy before, but hey, if he can get up to, 50 and 50 and he's given, 30K of that to a food bank, then, more power to him, lads.
No, yeah, like little stuff like that wins you over. And it's not little stuff, but like to show how much love he has for his community. And I love guys like that give back to the community. And it's not about, let me get this big and then forget about all the people that helped me or with me from the bottom up. And you could, like I said, you could tell they legitimately love their country. They fight for their people, and their people love them back because of the stuff that they give back.
Hey, and if the only bad thing is that he just likes to pound food outside of camp, like I'm not going to kill him for it,
Yeah. Eat your calories, boy.
Exactly.
Well, so something you guys were saying, sorry to pop back on here again, but
no, you're good.
The heavyweight thing, I've always wondered, like, I mean, look at Francis. Like, if everyone could be the body fat percentage that Francis is, like, how small would these guys be? Like, how many heavyweights are actually 205ers that just don't have the discipline or whatever? Because some of them go around in there like 230s, 240s. Like, you can get that 205 with like good diet and exercise. Like, not everyone's a statue like Francis, but I've always wondered that at heavyweight specifically.
Well, especially such a big
guys. When you see guys
too.
that are cutting weight to get to heavyweight, obviously they're getting that big out of camp. And I think that it's more so because heavyweights just get comfortable, like you said, being lazy. Because like I have this natural power. All I got to do is land one punch at heavyweight. and they don't have to do the extra running or extra things like that.
What's interesting though for me, like, and you can get to that in a sec, but like Derek Lewis to me looked like he absolutely worked his ass off on his body, which is why he's had such a long career. It's not like you're seeing a six pack, but like his core looked significantly stronger to me as his career developed, and it looked like it was so clear the work he was putting in physically to me, which was why he put himself in position to knock some of these people. I saw some of his patience and things develop. So I don't know. I was impressed with how he handled himself physically. Sorry. Put that thing back.
No, well, that's tough too, because I mean, I went to Houston, like it smells like delicious barbecue no matter where you go there. So it's tough, man. I can't imagine, like, especially the kind of places that he goes. I bet they have great buffets, if you know what I'm saying.
So I might have cut off a comment there that the bully was.
No,
Read
I just thought it was funny. It's like Cody looked like a guy who'd steal my phone and help me look for it. Like, come on, man. I don't look shiesty. What is that? But guys, one fight that I did want to get to is for the fourth seed here in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
And I wanted you guys to guess, like, when do you think the NBA playoff starts? What date in April?
Oh, it's a great question. Just a
Is it
guess.
April 16th?
It is April 16th.
No
So April
way.
16th could possibly be game one of Celtics versus Bulls. So if that happens, we'll have to have some talk about it on the show. Maybe a little wager, maybe a little wagery.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls have been struggling a little bit right now, I believe.
Yeah,
but it's a long season.
Yeah, playoffs the only thing that counts. That's all that matters.
Celtics are hot. They're hot. Hottest team over the last 2 months in the NBA. It's not, but anything can. That Bulls roster, I think, might be a little deeper than the Celtics, but we'll see what happens. But see, I was not bullshitting when I said earlier, like the April 9th card. Where is it, in Jacksonville?
Yeah.
Like I'm in Florida. Like I'm not even thinking about that. I know that the Apex is pretty difficult to get into. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Jacksonville, like I'm not kidding. Like I'm not even that concerned with going to that card, and I live in Florida because my focus is the following week.
Let's get
Just saying. All right. So for Belal Muhammad, I'm Jason Anik, our director, Cody Mara. We'll probably be with you next Thursday, 2 weeks away from Bully's fight. We know you'll do your business this week, Bully. We'll see you all next week Thursday. Appreciate you being with us. Peace.
Peace out, guys.